We're here today at William Hisey County Park in San Diego County's backcountry near Julian. We came here today to look at the very unusual oaks, a big variety of oaks, some black oaks, a lot of mall oak, and some live oak. Well, I moved over to a rock pile to show an oak tree that's found a little niche here. It's able to survive even though it's got almost no soil, but its roots are starting to break up this piece of gabbro. Roots are creating a little more soil. It was here when the tree was quite young, and we see the mechanical action of roots actually splitting and breaking up this hard gabbro. This root is doing quite well. It looks healthy. It's got plenty of wood on it. It survived a little fire actually a year ago that burned out the leaf mold, but the tree is surviving, even what looks to us as a very difficult location. But it finds this spot quite suited to its needs. The soil is sufficient. There's enough moisture, and it likes the soil that's being produced by the breakup of the gabbro rock. As the oaks work on the rock, at the same time, rain and the fog that lays up in these mountains drips off the oak leaves, and that makes a very acid rainfall under these oaks. The rain is a weak tannic acid solution. The tannic acid dissolves one of the constituent minerals in this gabbro, the mineral feldspar. Feldspar is, on the acid-base scale, a base. And of course, in the presence of a lot of weak acid, it dissolves, breaks down, turns to clay, a clay variety called kaolin, a product of feldspar. So the oaks then are responsible for mechanical breakup of the soil by the roots, also chemical breakup of the rock by the acid rain which they produce. We're near the same oak and the same rock pile. I've come down here to one side where there's a fair amount of leaf mold, scraping it away and noticing that now we have some nice oak leaf mold soil beneath the leaves, very much to the liking of this gold cup oak. Looking at the soil, it's broken down into fairly fine particles. Over on this half of the exposed soil area, the soil is very dark because of the fire a little over a year ago. This is mostly ash. When the fire burned the oak leaf mold and made ash, it suddenly changed the acidity of the soil from what was a highly acid soil to a soil now that's fairly alkaline. Alkaline soil is really what's needed for oak's acorns to be able to germinate and produce new oak trees. To the left of this patch of soil that I've exposed, here in the sun, the soil is a brown color instead of the black because of charcoal. It's really kind of a reddish brown because the soil produced by the gabbro rock, which is very rich in iron, makes for a very rich iron soil, which oxidizes to a red color. But with the quantity of leaf mold and ash here, it's more of a brown color. So more soil is developing because of the acid rain and the mechanical breakup of this gabbro rock by the oak tree. This would be sort of stage 2 in creating an ideal habitat for larger oak trees. Fewer rocks, a little bit more soil, and the soil is a bit thicker. And it's created a very open area where it's only oaks that survive here, not brush varieties. Soil being too acidic for most chaparral plants, plus a fairly shallow soil. Lots of shade here. Most of the chaparral plants can't tolerate that either. Still in the same thicket of oaks, primarily gold cup oak or mall oak. We noticed in the foreground here that it's mostly open. Fewer rock outcrops, thicker layer of oak leaf mold topsoil. Enough so that many of the gold cup oaks here are in clusters. Notice multiple trunks coming up from the same point, making a wide cluster of those oak trees. So you could say this is maybe the third little stage in the conversion of this rocky promontory that we visited today. A third stage towards producing a location that would be ideal for large oaks of these varieties. This is a good example of an encinal. Encino, Spanish for oak, adding al means an oak forest or oak grove. We're now in an encinal, in San Diego County. Well, we see a gigantic multiple-trunked gold cup oak. Many trunks there. If you count them, you'll find, I'm sure, more than a dozen. You notice also that the ground around the oak tree, especially here in the foreground, has an absence of large boulders and rocks, like we saw at the last location. Now, this giant oak has been here for many centuries. Many rainstorms have come through, or spring days with the clouds right down on the ground. Makes for a lot of soil moisture under and around these trees. Soil moisture from oaks is a very strong acid solution. The acid solution has worked on all of granite boulders and gabbro boulders here in the Julian area. Has dissolved the feldspar, which makes up about 30% of those rocks, causing the rocks to have dissolved away, broken up, and decomposed, to make for a rock-free area that we see behind me, and a relatively flat area with a little bit deeper topsoil. Ideal area for giant oaks.